guys, Roz here. Today I'm making some beef jerky. I make this regularly. This batch I'm making for a couple of friends of ours, Michelle and Dean. So this morning I've ducked off round to Robinson Road. It's a little shop called T-Bones. They have some great deals with meat and vegetables and all sorts. So I picked up a Wagu Eye Round roast, 3 kilos of it. I'll just give you a look at it. It looks really nice. The butcher trimmed the fat off for me. So this is half of it. It's actually it's really beautiful, the marbling, and it's called Wagu Eye Round. Worked out to be $17.99 a kilo. So what I've done is I've used my Kogan slicer here on settings usually between 4 and a 5 for the thickness, and I've sliced half of this up. But what I do before I slice it, I place it in the freezer so it becomes firm, and then it makes it easier to slice. This is the sliced finished product here. So it's not too thick, not too thin, and it'll marinate really nicely. My ingredients today for this recipe, kind of like a teriyaki sort of flavor. We have brown sugar, some soy sauce. I add a bit of Kep mayonnaise, which is sweet soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, garlic powder, onion powder, some sweet paprika I've got in here, and in this little container, I'll just open it, is some dried chili. I use these in my caravan because they're magnetic and they stick to the knife block. But that's dried chili from our garden, and I've actually dried that in the dehydrator, and it's really nice. So what I'm going to do now is mix up the sauce into this little container. I'll tip it over the meat, I'll marinate it, I'll rub it around with my fingers and then put it into the plastic bag. And what we'll do is we'll leave that overnight to marinate, and then tomorrow morning I'll line it all up on the dehydrator trays and dehydrate it for at least 8 hours, I think I do it for. But anyway, I'll show you as I go. So half a cup of brown sugar. For this is a kilo's worth of meat. Half a cup of soy sauce. Just give that. I just stir it as I go. Now to add 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Sweet paprika. It says to use smoked, but I like the taste of the sweet paprika, but it's up to you, preference. You could probably try one time, one another time, but I do like the sweet. Okay, half a teaspoon of the onion powder, half a teaspoon of the garlic powder, and I'm putting in half a teaspoon of chili flakes. Obviously, if you like it hotter, you can add more, but this is what I'm doing for this recipe. It also says to put in there some unseasoned meat tenderizer. You can buy that in Woolies and Coles, but I just leave it out. It's just preference. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'll give this a bit of a stir. Actually, I've got a little mini whisk in there. I might whisk it up so it breaks up all the powders. Okay, so I'll also add in 1/4 cup of the Kep mayonnaise. Into there. Give it a whisk around to break up all those, especially the onion powder. Sometimes it just gets chunky. Give it a whisk. Okay, then what I do, I pour it all over the meat in a big tray, like this. And then what I'll do, I've actually washed my hands with soap. Make sure you do that. Massage it through the meat. Make sure everything's covered. Every little slice. Sometimes they stick together like that and you'll miss some of it. But sometimes I put it into the fridge just in the tray, and then I'll go back and do it every few hours. I'll turn it. But today I'm actually going to put it into the snap lock bag, shake it around and massage it as well, and let it sit there overnight. And then tomorrow I'll show you, it'll be a lot darker in colour, and then I'll put it onto the trays and then into the dehydrator. Okay, so I put it in the bag. Now I'm just going to put it into the fridge and I'll turn it every few hours and give it a bit of a massage, or whenever I open the fridge. And then tomorrow, what we'll do, like I said, I'll show you the dehydrator and what dehydrator I use. And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, morning guys. I've marinated the beef overnight. I've just taken it out of the fridge. I'll give you a look. It's a lot darker in colour. Okay, this is it still in the bag. So what I'm actually going to do is just tip it into the colander. Okay, I've tipped it into the colander. You can see the nice dark colour from the marinade that's gone into it overnight. It absolutely smells amazing. I'm just going to let it drip for a bit so the excess runs into the sink. And then I'm going to pat it dry with some paper towel and then put it into the dehydrator. This is my dehydrator here. It's a Sunbeam. It comes from Harvey Norman, approximately about $180. It's got all the settings on the top. I've dried herbs in here as well as the jerky and fruit. It's got a lift up front on it. Just slides up. And it's got 1, 2, 3, it's got 6 shelves and then another tray at the bottom. These just pop out. So I've laid all my trays out on the bench here and I've covered them with baking paper. This helps keep the trays clean, so I haven't got to scrub them fully, and it works for me. But it's up to you what you use and how you do it. It's just preference again. So now I will grab my paper towel, my beef jerky from the sink. So I've laid down my paper towel onto the breadboard. I've let my beef drip into the sink. So what I'm going to do now is just pat it dry. So I actually take one piece at a time. Just lay it out like this. It smells amazing and the colour is beautiful. This just helps it dry out a little bit, so it doesn't take so long in the dehydrator. Some people just throw it straight onto the trays in the dehydrator and dehydrate it for an extra few hours, but I like this method where I dry it a little bit first. So what I've been doing is I've been layering it up with the paper towel. I put a layer down, paper towel on top, and then I give it a little bit of a pat. This just helps dry it all out. This should be the last layer. So this is a kilo's worth of meat. Now when it dries, it's probably going to weigh a lot less, but I'll let you know what the weight is once it's done. So I'll put the last layer of paper towel on. It's best if you have a nice absorbent paper towel. Give it a really good pat. And now we start the process of putting it onto the trays. So take my towel off and I just layer it onto the trays like this. You can cut it before you actually dehydrate it, or you can leave it as is and just cut it at the end. Sometimes it's just good to have a nice big piece of jerky. And it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, so you've got to try and fit it all onto your trays, depending on how much meat you do. That's why I like to do it in just batches. Next tray, paper towel off. And if you can see it kind of soaks off a lot of that juice, but it's still within the meat because it's marinated overnight. So before we actually head off in the caravan, I'm going to have to make a couple of batches and vacuum seal them so we can take them with us.
At least this way you know what's going into it, and it's not all the sugars and stuff, that plasticky stuff you get like from America.
So just in an airtight container as well. This on your bench, this will probably just keep for a week on your kitchen bench if it's just an airtight container. You can actually freeze it or put it in the fridge and it will last longer. but I like to use my vacuum seal machine and suck all the air out, and I tend to keep it as long as it'll last, sort of thing.
Goes well with a beer.
But it's a nice healthy protein snack. So I've got 4 trays so far. Oh, look like I'm only going to hit 5 trays with this batch. So this is, like I said, this is just over a kilo. Okay, so this is the dehydrator. What I do is I just slide the trays straight in. So the other half of that Angus that I was showing you yesterday, I'll actually cut that today and get it marinating again. Because if I did the whole lot at once, it'd just be sitting in the fridge marinating. I suppose you could do that, but I just wanted to do it separately. Okay, you put your thing on, your lid on, press the on button.
Is it a lid or is it a door?
It's a door. Put the door on. You put the door on, you press the on button. It tells you up here what degrees to cook different things at. So meat, jerky and fruit rolls 70. So my temperature is on 70. It automatically comes up with 10. I like to take it down to 8 hours and then check it. This will beep and stop at the 8-hour mark. Then I'll check it. If it needs a little bit more, I'll put it on for another hour. If not, I'll take it out and I'll package it up. So once it's cooked, I'll show you the end process.
And the actual smells throughout the house drives you insane. But you can actually put it on and do it overnight. So when you wake up in the morning, it's all sitting there ready to go. And as Roz said, the machine turns itself off once it's timed out.
Anyway, when that's finished, I'll come back and I'll show you the end product. Okay guys, so I've just pulled it out of the dehydrator. It's been in there for 8 hours today. I'm just going to take it off the tray and weigh it and actually see how much I get for the kilo of Wagyu that I started with. So for just over a kilo of the Wagyu beef that I'd cut and dehydrated, I'll show you the scales here. You end up with 510 grams. So pretty much half. Hey guys, well it's that time again. It's the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed my beef jerky tutorial. I'm actually now in the middle of making another batch for ourselves now that we've made some for our friends. But I've got a joke for you, Dave. What do they call a cow that twitches?
I don't know, Rosalind. What do they call a cow that twitches?
Beef jerky. What do they call a cow that masturbates?
I don't know, Ros. What do they call a cow?
Beef jerky. Where do you take beef jerky, Dave?
What do you mean, where do I take beef jerky?
To the movies. Catches. Hope you like that mum joke.
It's worse than a dad joke. Don't give up your day job.